The theme for the Winter 2025 Custom Diecast Invitational, hosted by the Diecast Exchange, is monster trucks. I selected this Hot Wheels twin mill monster truck as the starting point for my entry in this challenge. The body on this casting was held to the chassis with a screw that required a special triangle-shaped screwdriver. I didn't have that screwdriver, but I found a suitable hex screwdriver that I was able to use to remove the screw. The engines were held to the body with a short rivet post. I drilled out the rivet to remove the engines. The windows were painted on the twin mill body, so there was no windscreen or interior. At this point, I decided to use this regular twin mill casting as a parts donor to help make my intended customization a little easier. Some of the parts I would take from the donor would include the cockpit roof and windshield frame, the windshield glass, and the front and rear pan sections from the base. The cockpit roof and windshield frame were cut from the donor body using a jeweler's saw. The hood area on the monster mill body was removed to make room to add the donor cockpit. The original monster mill cockpit area was removed to create an opening where I would create a cargo box. The donor cockpit was then trial fit to the monster mill body. The cockpit and body were then stripped of paint to prepare for assembly. JB weld was then used to attach the cockpit to the body, to fill any gaps, and to reshape the nose of the body. Sheet styrene was used to construct the sidewalls of the cargo area. The front and rear pans from the donor base were trimmed and fitted to the bottom of the monster mill. The rear pan needed to be widened about 3/32 of an inch to fit the monster mill. A grooved panel was designed for the floor of the cargo area. After it was 3D printed, it was cut and sanded to fit the bottom of the cargo opening. The windshield glass from the donor was then trimmed to fit the new window opening on the customized body, and a new single-seat cockpit was designed for the build. The new cockpit was 3D printed along with a custom steering wheel that had been designed for a previous project. The custom scoops I designed for my previous Gecko builds would be used again on this project. As I still had some spares left over, I did not need to print out a fresh pair. When I trial fit my customized body onto the original chassis, I did not like the proportions. I felt the original chassis was too tall and the monster tires were too large. I addressed the issue of height first by making several changes to the two chassis pieces. These changes allowed the roll cage and suspension shell to sit slightly lower over the central structure. The height was better, but the tires were still too cartoonishly large. I designed and 3D printed new multi-piece tires and rims to replace the originals. The new tires were about 3/4 the size of the original tires. These new tires would help to further lower the height of the chassis. In the final trial fit, I was now quite satisfied with the proportions of my customized monster truck. After the new tires were painted black, a light sanding revealed the raised letters on the tires, as the outer halves of the tires had been printed in white resin. The chassis was painted and detailed, and the wheels and tires were installed. The body was painted and custom decals were applied. When the decals were dry, they were sealed with clear coat. To make the body easier to paint and decal, the floor of the cargo area was kept separate until after all the paint work was finished. With the paintwork finished, the cargo floor and windshield were installed and glued in place. The cockpit was painted silver and the steering wheel was installed before it was attached to the body. The engines were installed in the body and the painted scoops were attached to the engines. The final step was to attach the body to the chassis. Here's the twin mill monster truck I started with. And now I present to you the Maximum Gecko monster truck. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this build.